So we're gonna get into the news for the week, and the first bit of news is that the Flash adds Katee Sackhoff as a DC Comics villain. I sort of wish we had Corey on here to explain who this villain is because I do not recognize them at all, and I am trying to avoid the Wikipedia rabbit hole. But Katee Sackhoff is joining the cast in a recurring role. The Battlestar Galactica alum will play DC Comics villain Amunet Black, aka Blacksmith, a steely and badass boss of an underground black market for supervillains. So the actress will appear in episode 405, interestingly titled "Girls' Night Out," which also serves as a mini crossover with Arrow's Emily Bett Rickards. I'm curious to see this and to figure out who this character is. But so I will ask this: Chris, Sean, are you guys watching Flash, Arrow? You know, the CW shows, or you know?
Yeah, the whole line of DC shows, me and my wife are all over it. That being said,
I'm the same way. I watch all of them.
Nice. Okay, so I'm looking here, and yet I'm gonna say this: if they get, I feel like I would like the costume if they nail a little bit of what this picture shows. And when you go to the DC.wikia webpage and you search Amunet Black of New Earth, but she just because like it would look a little bit too much like, oh, what the fuck's her name? She played Supergirl in Smallville, and then she was like a Brainiac villain in Supergirl. Like how her character looked in there, where she's all blue. I could see this being a good part for Katee Sackhoff. I mean, and Katee Sackhoff is a badass actress herself, so like I am excited for this. I've been excited. I like how they've been rolling out all this information with the DC shows. So they already gave the fact that they are doing a big ginormous cross-platform series between the 4 shows, but then they're also saying, oh well, there's going to be mini crossovers between shows, and you know you'll get characters popping in each other's shows and stuff like that. I look at this and I go that this could be really cool. And also the fact that we got Kevin Smith coming back and directing Supergirl this next season in there.
Kevin Smith on anything just has an instant appeal for me because I've loved pretty much everything he's done.
Yeah, and Beatmaster's asking the blasphemic question, which I will give the smart-ass answer to. What did Katee Sackhoff do worth seeing since Battlestar Galactica? She did The Big Bang Theory, where she was playing herself after Battlestar Galactica. Sorry, I had to give the smart-ass answer.
Well, I was looking on IMDb too because I recognized hearing the name, and it's like voice actor stuff and single episodes of things and Call of Duty.
Yeah, she definitely didn't have one of the breakout careers, but I mean that sort of tends to happen with a lot of sci-fi actors and actresses, because you could honestly say that with a lot of the actors from Battlestar Galactica, which I will point out right now. I rewatched, she was on Longmire and 24 as I'm looking at the article here, but I was rewatching Portlandia, and their episode One More episode, I didn't realize until looking at the credits that Ronald D. Moore has a cameo in Portlandia. Not even playing himself. He's playing a separate, like a local Portland actor in there. And I'm like, oh wait, that's brilliant. But yeah, complete aside, going totally off book here. So yeah, I'm excited for this. I think you guys are. We'll have to see how she plays. Maybe she'll be a recurring, like the new Malcolm Merlin for Flash. The next article is one that we talked about this before the show, and I will point out that the article with the way it was written did trip me up. But Patty Jenkins is in final negotiations for a historic deal to helm Wonder Woman 2. This is basically, to sum up the deals, is she in these final negotiations to become the director for this. She's mainly holding out to get paid like the big boys would get paid, because, and as the article pointed out, and it took Sean, like Chris and Sean both knew what I was talking about. It took both of Sean rewording things to point out that Woman has grossed enough to make it the third highest Warner Brothers grossing film of all time. The article says behind only Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight series. I asked which ones because I was curious to know which ones they were. And actually it beat all of Harry Potter, which I love that. You know, Harry Potter got beat by Wonder Woman. But yeah, so right now it's the top 3 grossing movies from Warner Brothers are Dark Knight Rises, Wonder Woman, and then you got Harry Potter and American Sniper, and then 2 other DC Cinematic Universe movies that may or may not have been better, or may or may not have been good. I look at this and I say, okay, this is finally, hopefully, the thing that gets people looking at, forget the gender of the director, but gets looking at their talent. You know, because now that we've, you know, that hopefully people have realized, hey, women can direct great movies. We can move past this to where the point I had made of, well, what 2 movies were it, or did gross more than it, become a point of, I just want to know what those movies are for, you know, if people ask me this later as a trivia thing. Chris, what do you think about this? What do you think about, you know, the fact that Patty Jenkins is going to be getting paid like the boys?
I mean, she did a great job with it, so she definitely deserves it. And I'm also a big fan of people having a chance to continue a story that they started.
Sean, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, she did a fantastic job with Wonder Woman. It was one of the best movies that I saw this summer, if not the best. And, you know, I guess it's just the way these things have to start with the person at the top. But really, I think as far as like the way you're paying women to direct films, was she paid similarly to a man before this, that she, you know, a comparable man if he had been directing Wonder Woman 2? And I don't think she was, you know, and so it really has to be at every level, not just that the top woman is getting paid like the top man. This, you know, everybody down the line needs to be paid similarly to their male counterparts. So, you know, it's great. It's a step, you know, we should celebrate the step, but it's also a long way from solving the problem.
Oh, definitely.
No, yeah, this is the thing I said during when they announced the 13th Doctor, that I said for Who Knew in Review. Okay, yes, the female or the Doctor is now female, but I looked at everything, you know, like how that was a smart choice for Chris Chibnall. This is that same boat. You substitute Chris Chibnall with the executives at Warner Brothers, and Patty Jenkins is Jodie Whittaker. They already know how she works. They've seen her success. It's a no-duh move. That's how I look at both these situations. And I'm looking at, and even then, you look at before where, you know, at the things that she's directed. I mean, you know, starting out with, you know, the big, you know, her big breakout movie with Monster, and then, you know, directing an episode of Arrested Development and a couple episodes of Entourage. And actually, in all honesty, not directing a lot of things before. Like, she's only directed 7 things before Wonder Woman. That's not, and that's over the course of 14 years. You know, so that's a project every 2 years that she's directed. That's phenomenal. She's still basically unknown before when this movie came out. You know, a lot of people will be like, "Oh, she did that one movie, the one with Charlize Theron that she didn't look like herself at all," or you know, the Netflix show The Killing and all this stuff. Now everyone knows her name, and I think a lot of people then went, "Well, what is she going to get paid this next minute?" You know, why haven't they said? Because the comic book industry with the movies and stuff, they've announced the next day or even before the movie's even released, because it was tracking so well. We've signed on, you know, the director, the writer, the actors, the producers to 2 more movies, you know, or at least to the next movie. We hadn't heard that. The article doesn't give us a definite that she has officially signed on. She could still back out if she feels like she's not getting the right treatment here from Warner Brothers. So I look at this as saying, yes, we do need to break this barrier down with, you know, with the women getting paid as much as the men, you know, and they look at it strictly on talent, you know, judge it on their talent, not on whether they have a penis, sort of thing. And also, I do realize the irony of saying that on a panel with 2 other men.
Yeah, but especially a thing like this, where in the end, I don't see the director. So honestly, if they do a good job, I don't really care who it is.
Yeah, and where that is true, but you do get those directors, your Edgar Wrights, your Quentin Tarantino, who direct such in a particular style that you could almost pick out their movies like that, or at least I can. I could
Yeah, a Coen Brothers movie looks like a Coen Brothers movie.
yeah.
You know?
What's the fucking hipster
The side
director?
I'm coming at it from though is I'm not watching it because it's a Coen Brothers movie. I'm watching it because they do something that I like. So if somebody just came along and completely copied everything they did and actually did a good job with it, I'd still watch it and enjoy it just as well.
Yeah, it's true, and for me, like a majority of the time, that is the case as well. I'm looking at the actors, at the, like how the trailer looks, but there's few directors, Edgar Wright, the dude who directed Royal Tenenbaums, I cannot think of his name.
Wes Anderson.
That's it, Wes Anderson. I had it before, and as soon as I started talking, it's like blank. Like, and Quentin Tarantino. Those are three that I will look at, and actually Zack Snyder. I'll throw Zack Snyder in there. Those are four directors that I will look at and go based off of their like and not really based off the trailer, based off of them. And Zack Snyder is on either side, like Zack Snyder, because I liked his work. I didn't see 300, but I like Sucker Punch. I'm that rare person who likes Sucker Punch. I liked watching
Sucker Punch.
I've heard a lot of people bash Sucker Punch, and I'm like, I liked it.
Sucker Punch is not going to be critically acclaimed, like on any list of best movies to ever watch, but it's an enjoyable movie to watch.
Yeah, yes. It's not a great movie, but it's a fun movie, and it's a visually stunning movie. And if you go in watching for that, you'll be fine. If you go in watching for, deep plot and character development, you're going to be very, disappointed.
Yeah. And so it's like I look at those four directors, and it's like I know what I'm going to get out of that movie. Now they can surprise me, because everyone can surprise you by changing up their styles. But it's more like I will look at those that way. Everything else, I'm looking at it as, did the trailer surprise me? The other exception is Star Wars, because it's Star Wars. Like, I have still to see anything on The Last Jedi, and I'm keeping it that way. I'm going to go in crispy clean. Going into The Last Jedi, at least that's my hope. Bottom line, I hope Patty Jenkins gets paid. I hope Wonder Woman 2 is really good. It is slated to come out in 2019, and yeah, I honestly hope that the DC movies are going to be better. The next story, the final story,
December 2019 release, that puts it against Star Wars Episode 9, does it not?
Are the episode movies still in December? Because I know there was talks of moving the anthology movies to like March.
The Google rabbit hole has it Star Wars Episode 9 coming out late May 2019.
Oh, they moved them. Okay. All right. Well, then that doesn't really...
They moved them because of the Han Solo movie.
Gotcha. Yeah, because I was thinking, that's ballsy for Wonder Woman to go up against Star Wars. But if you're going to, of any of the DC properties lately, that's the one. So, but it's a non-issue.
Yeah. I will point out as a final thing that, and Beat is making a great point, the issue is more of along the lines of which other female directors can you name? That is telling of how the industry operates, which is true, because we've named Catherine Bigelow. No, not Catherine Bigelow, because she's the producer. Oh, God, the director of Zero Dark 30 and Detroit.
Well, Catherine Bigelow directed The Hurt Locker, didn't she?
And is it Catherine? Okay, it could be Catherine Bigelow, but and I know there are other female directors out there, but this is a fact that it is like the industry is boys club.
Yeah, well, and you just have to look at even before Hurt Locker, she was just referred to usually as James Cameron's wife.
Yeah.
So I mean that's telling right there.
And the fact that you're having to think about it like that really proves the point too.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's true. I guess it's because I'm always early to jump on. Okay, yes, yes, they are insert this minority here, or what appears to be a minority here. It's always more of a just I want great things by great people sort of deal. So that's how I always look at it. The next story is that Amazon is working on a Galaxy Quest sequel or TV revival. They hit a roadblock, but it's come back, and the Hollywood Reporter is reporting that writer, actor, comedian Paul Scheer has been tapped to pen the script for the Paramount Television produced series. Scheer will be taking over from the film's original writer, Robert Gordon, who was on board to pen the script for the Amazon reboot. Basically, this was going to go on 2 years ago is when they were talking about this, or 3 years ago. But they're talking about doing this, and then it got put on hold after Alan Rickman passed away, and also at the same time. But it wasn't more like one caused the other, but it was sort of like both of these things happened at the same time. So maybe it's a sign that we should wait, because Tim Allen wasn't available because he was still doing Last Man Standing. Well, that got canceled, so now there's talks that this could be possibly coming back. What are your guys' thoughts on this? Because I'm honestly torn.
Thoughts on Paul Scheer being the writer, or thoughts on this coming back?
This coming back. We'll start at this because I like Paul Scheer as the writer. The one thing I find funny, because I don't know that he actually did write any episodes for the League, because it was more improv, I think he did a couple, but they don't credit him as acting in the League. They credit him for writing episodes of the League, which I'm like, he did more acting in that than he did writing episodes. Unless you want to call the writing, the quote unquote writing that he did, as he improv'd a lot of the lines. But this is also me nitpicking an article, like I did with the last article. But yeah, so I have no problem with Paul Scheer. I think he's a funny dude. My worries are more with rebooting Galaxy Quest.
Why is Galaxy Quest sacred and so many other things aren't?
It's not so much that it's sacred. It's more along the lines of, and this could be asked about other properties. Is it needed? Like, what could we get from a movie that was, from a movie from 1999, from when I was 10, to make you guys all feel old, basically about the people who were on a TV show having to then play their roles in real life. What else is there to tell with that story? Now, I'm pretty sure there are, a bunch of different ways you can go after that, but it seems to me like the TV show Revolution, where that had a one and done series premise. You get one season out of it, and then boom, you go home. Same thing with How I Met Your Mother. Now, why they dragged that show out for 9 fucking seasons, no one knows. But that was a one season and you're done. It's How I Met Your Mother, not how I gave half of New York City chlamydia. But I don't know. That's why I'm more leery on Galaxy Quest being reworked and made into a TV show.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it all boils down to what they're actually going to do with it, because you look at so much stuff that's been remade lately, and there is no sacred properties anymore. Everything is basically open for a remake, and Galaxy Quest was fun the first time. If they do something good with it, it could be fun this time. And I like the Paul Scheer addition to this as well. I have a Paul Scheer story. Last summer, I was about 5 or 6 feet away from Paul Scheer for a solid hour, because we were at a taping of At Midnight, and my daughter and I were in the front row, and he was the first contestant on that night. So he was standing right in front of us. And, afterwards, nice. He was the only one on first of all, that was the episode where he gave up his spot in the bonus round to the girl, the comedian that was from Brazil, because her parents had flown in for the show. So he gave her his spot in the final, but he was also the only one at the end of the show that shook hands with members of the audience and stuff. So, he seems like, for that hour that I saw him perform, that, he seems like a decent guy. So that to me, it just makes it more attractive, though. I don't know. I'm willing to give it a shot and see what happens. Everything is open for remakes nowadays.
It's so this, I guess, Chris, I'll ask you this part because we talked about this before. Like, it seems like either Amazon has gotten rid of the pilot season, which I justified it as like that they probably haven't, that they've reworked it and have been a little bit more loose with, or I shouldn't say loose, but been a little bit more willing to hear shows out for a pitch to be made 2 series as opposed to just straight up, okay, write a pilot and then make a pilot and then we'll see what the fans want. What do you think about that part of this? As well as everything else, like the fact that they're going to go, that it does sound like it could be going straight to series on Amazon.
I mean, it's obviously something they have faith in.
Yeah.
And I mean, my Paul Scheer experience is pretty much just his bad movie podcast in the league. From what I know, I'm sure he's written some other things too that I've actually seen and just not paid attention to him writing it.
Well, he wrote the Adult Swim show that he starred in. What the fuck is the name?
NTSF, blah blah blah. That one,
yeah.
Which I can't stay up that late anymore. I have to be a responsible adult and wake up in the morning. I just haven't found a way to watch it yet. Galaxy Quest obviously, has a fan base, and it's on this list of things that I've been told I need to see that I just haven't gotten to because people keep telling me I need to see more and more things.
I always say it this way: if you like Star Wars, if you like Star Trek, if you like the other, the actors who were in there, the William Shatners, the Hayden Christensen's, the Alan Rickmans of this, you would probably like Galaxy Quest because I gave you the whole.
Told me I'm kind of on the same boat with that too. I just haven't gotten around to it for whatever reason.
I'll say because I gave you the premise. I mean, it's basically you take the cast of the Star Trek, the original series, and they get abducted by aliens who think that they are the people that they saw in the TV shows. They thought the TV shows were documentaries, not scripted dramas and stuff like that. And hilarity ensues. But yeah, all in all, honestly, I'm leery of this. It's also because I could see them redoing the movie, where they're at, like, whether it's the same actors and actresses, and there are the points that like Tim Allen is a TV material, but some of the other people are a little bit higher grade, like Sigourney Weaver is more movie stars. I look at this more of I'm cautiously optimistic on this, just because of the fact that it doesn't seem. I could see this fail, but I don't want it to fail. I'll put it. That's the way I'll probably will put it. So that is going to do it for the news, and I'm going to read a thing about Patreon and how you can help us out here. You could be our partners. And you can do that by going to gncast.com/support. And on that page, you will find our, a couple things. You'll find the Amazon affiliate link, but then you'll also find our Patreon page. That's where you can go and you could give us money, like a monthly recurring fee, much like Netflix. But with that, you will get extra content from some of the people here. You'll get comic book picks from yours truly. I know Peter Fisher, is working on an app show that's going to be exclusively on Patreon, and I'm pretty sure there are other shows and other things in the works there. And the best part about that is you're helping us. You're helping us keep the lights on, to keep this ball rolling, to help pay for the costs of everything. You're partnering with us. You're not giving us money. You're partnering with us because you like our shows, because you like what you hear and see here, and we want to thank you for that. gncast.com/support.
For more on this Galactic Network podcast, go to gncast.com. That's gncast.com.